and this is Soul Connection. Soul Connection is a series dedicated to teaching you how to tap into and connect to your soul on a deeper level. We will be exploring spirit versus soul, mass meditation, chakra energy, vibration, and connecting to it all. We will learn how to tap into our soul and figure out what our purpose is on this earth in this lifetime.
We're here tonight on Soul Connection to speak with returning guest, Andjela. How are you, Andjela?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited about this episode because I know very little about dreams, dream interpretation, things like that. I have to dig back into my memories from when I took psychology years ago. But, people think of dreams as just being on a it's your body, it's a way to relieve stress, and it's a way sometimes that your mind reacts to certain things that's happening, and we know that that's true. But dreams can also mean many other things. So
A lot of other things.
a lot, it could be messages from your soul telling you, or your higher self even telling you things that might be coming up, advice. It could be other spirits speaking to you. What are your thoughts on dreams?
Dreams are for me very important. I always get excited when it's time to sleep because I know my dreams will tell me a lot. And when I wake up, I'm like, oh yeah, I dreamed this, I will dream this and this and this. And it's always a guide for me. It's guiding me. So I know that I learned a lot of lessons. So my biggest lesson was listen to your dreams, listen to the signs.
Listen to what they're
It's
telling you.
yeah, it's like also like an intuition, your gut feeling, your unconscious try to reach you, and it can't reach you, like we said, at daytime because we're too busy with other stuff and things like that. And this way our body, our conscious, our higher self communicates with us. And I always look for symbols, names, for example, of peoples or people that I know from the past. Could I trust them? Could I, if I even can trust them? So it means like the days that are coming, I have to be really careful with people who gave me agreement for things like that. Then I know, like, okay, you're not honest because I know I dreamed this or that.
Mm-hmm.
So those are for me very important things. Like, okay, was it a bad dream? Was it a good dream? Was it somebody that I really liked, or was it somebody I had a bad experience with? Those are for me very big signs. I don't know, how does it work with you?
Oh my goodness, so many different ways. I've had dreams where I believe it was astral travel. And I've had dreams where, for example, my sister, who was killed in 1995, she has come to me. I know it was her. I know we were together. When I woke up, I was still crying. I
Mm.
felt her. I could smell her perfume. I have had dreams predicting things, little things, big things, messages, like you said, little messages coming through, kind of giving me guidance. I literally, when I wrote my book, that first book that came out a couple of years ago, I
Yes.
literally woke up one day, literally woke up and said, I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be on throwing bones. And I did that in November. I woke up in November. The book was out by July because things started falling into place. It was the right time for me to do it. That was my soul
Wow.
telling me. Yeah, it was amazing.
Amazing.
I had people come into my life that I hadn't seen in a long time, that happened to have knowledge on that particular subject, that gave me unbelievable advice. One of my students just happened to be an editor, and she was like, "Oh, I'll edit this for you." And I taught her classes. She edited my, I mean, there were so many different things literally fell into place. And it is my understanding that when your soul is communicating with you and you take the communication, you take the guidance and you apply it to your life, things just kind of fall into place the way they're supposed to. It's when you
Yeah,
go against your soul that it all falls apart. It all falls apart, you know?
it's
So,
all, yes, it's all connected with each other. The energy, synchronicity, it it's like a puzzle. It's like a domino. Everything fits, everything comes to place, and the right people, the right place. It's all about timing and listening, like, and don't pressure things, like, okay, things will come at their time, everything has a time, a place.
mhm. And you have to absolutely listen to it, which is hard sometimes. It's hard because we go back to the intellect versus intuition. What's intellect? What's intuition? Then, you go back to,
Yes,
fighting with yourself, listening to other people, listening to yourself,
this
argue
is
with
so
yourself.
familiar.
It's
Yes,
so familiar, you know. But yeah, dreams are crazy like that. And there's so many different types. So you have to figure out what type of dream is it first. You know,
yes,
are there messages coming through? Is it your body and your mind just needing to escape and just relax and release
yes,
tension? Which is
yes,
also
exactly.
your higher self and your soul saying, okay, you need to release this. You have to differentiate, I think, between them. And then you have to look at the symbols and the signs, that you were just,
Exactly.
oh, that's the hard part. Do you think that the symbols, you see dream interpretation books everywhere, or you can go online and, they'll say, well, and I don't know any off the top of my head, but let's just say, I'll give you an example like with the both. All right, snakes in bone reading represent transitions. I don't know what exactly they represent in dreams, but to everybody, snakes might not represent that. Do you think that the symbols and the signs in the dreams are universal? Do you think they're subjective?
No, no. I think it all, if you love, for example, if you love snakes, if you're crazy about snakes and you dream about snakes, that means th then you get a nice feeling about it, Then it's a special sign because you love snakes. But if you're terrified for snakes and you're dreaming it, then it's like a nightmare. So for everybody, dreams, you always need to put your own interpretation. Like, how did you wake up? Did you wake up with a bad feeling? Did you wake up with a happy feeling? Because it all has to do with your own experience. What do you experience with the dream? What do you feel? How do you wake up? Because, for example, if your dreams are about frogs, for example, in China, frogs mean abundance, fertility, but in other countries, it can mean very bad things, you know?
That makes sense. So yeah, it's not universal
No,
at
no.
all. Yeah.
You can look it up. You can look it up, just see what could be the meaning. But I would say keep a dream book with you, and then you can write your dreams. And when a dream comes again or something's familiar, like what you're saying, snakes, and you
Mhm.
had an experience with it, and you're dreaming it like, for example, a year later, you're going to look in your dream book, hey, what did I experience when I dreamed about snakes? And then you can look what was your experience, and then you can look like, is it the same? Did I have the same feeling, Because
Mhm.
snakes can be terrified for people that are really terrified, and they can really have nightmares. But it also stands for transformations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I mean, when you look at doctors and things like that, the sign of a snake is connected with Archangel Raphael. And Raphael is, it was his staff that had the snakes. So it's also a healing sign. So are you in a healing process? Or do you really have snakes around you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like people snakes, you know what I mean? Bad energies. Or is it just a transformation you're going through? So it all depends on, for example, when you dream about water, water is a sign of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I know when I dream about clear water, I know that I'm clearing my emotions, I'm releasing my emotions and things like that, you know, a cleansing. But when I dream about uh, mud, about unclear water, dirty water, for example, I know in a couple of weeks I will get sick. I know it, you know. So for everybody, dreams can mean a lot of things, but I think it's personal. It's personal. It can be like,
Thank you.
you can always look at things like, what does it mean when you dream about dogs or something, but always listen also to your own feeling. What did your dream tell you?
What it
How
means
did
to
you
you.
express?
You know, your soul's going to communicate with you in a language that you understand, not that
Yeah,
somebody from Japan understands, but somebody from, but some you know, maybe not even your next door neighbor, but you understand. So it's going to communicate with,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
that
That's
makes.
how it works. That makes sense.
What do you think about people that say they don't dream?
How would I say it? All people dream, but a lot of people push their dreams away because they're afraid of listening what it tells, or they don't want to get disturbed while they're sleeping. They just want to sleep and don't hear anything because they already have those busy days. You know what I mean? For
Exhaustion.
example, I for example, a client of mine,
Mhm.
she's now, I think, for 5 years, my client. Yeah, I think 5 years. And she tells me she never dreams. But she also told me that in the past she doesn't know anything about her childhood because she pushed everything away.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So she's not connecting. You know, she pushed just everything away. She doesn't want to know about her past anymore. She just pushed it away.
Yeah.
And dreams also, she doesn't want to know, you know?
Yeah, people choose to not listen. But you know, and also exhaustion. You know, when somebody is completely exhausted, more than likely they're going to be in such a deep sleep, they're not going to remember them dreaming. But I studied a long time ago, years ago when I was in high school, actually psychology. And one of the things we studied was dream interpretation. And I learned that there have been many studies, many
Yes,
studies where you know how they can tell whenever you're in your REM sleeping and stuff like that. They would wake people up when they started to dream, and then they would let them go back to
yes,
sleep. Then they would wake people up, and when they started, and they did this process over and over. And after a while, people started like losing their hearing. They started going crazy. They started going blind, losing body functions. I mean, just their body was breaking down. You know, so that proves that everybody does dream. Some people just don't remember, you know, what it is. What do you think? someone who says they don't dream, what could they do to help themselves remember their dreams? I mean, I know that they have to get enough rest, because if you're exhausted, you're not going to remember your dreams. But let's say
Well,
somebody that
also, it's not only exhausting, it's also like when your head is like foggy.
Mhm,
You don't remember even what you eat last day, the day before. So you can't even remember what you dreamed. But your dream are there, only you don't remember it.
mhm. Do you think that's one of the one of the strongest or best ways that your soul communicates with you is through dreams, or do you think it's intuition?
I think it's both because your intuition is talking with you in your dreams.
Okay,
Your higher self, intuition, your guides,
speaking through your
they're
dream.
all trying to speak through your dreams because they can't reach you at day.
That's true. Yeah, because it's not quiet during the day. Like we
No,
discussed in the last episode, it's not quiet. You have to still yourself. You have to get to that state of, and I don't think you have to be in deep meditation every single time. I know that driving down the road, if you just, as another, I know we discussed me, like when I take my bath, I turn off the podcast and I'll turn off the music. But when I'm driving down the road, I usually listen to a podcast, but I turn it off now to get into that silence. I think if you go to bed early enough where you can kind of lay and relax a little bit, maybe even think about a question that you might want answered, or insight on a particular subject. Give yourself about 10 minutes or so to kind of get yourself in that relaxed state, and allow yourself to wake up easily, not rush,
yes,
because
yes,
everybody
yes,
wants that extra 5 minutes. They hit snooze and then they jump up and they're running around and they're going. I have found that when I do go to bed, even when I'm exhausted, if I still take a few minutes to just kind of, hey, all right, relax myself. And then I wake up a little bit early the next day.
yeah,
I'm not rushed, that I can lay there for a second, because that first wake up, when you're waking up,
exactly.
that's whenever you remember and you
That's
get
the
the
most
information.
important. And
Mhm.
try to lay down in in that same position
Mm, I didn't think about that, but that's true. That's
because
true.
then you will remember again what you dreamed.
Hmm.
And don't push too much like, oh, what did I dream? No, just let it
Mm-mm.
go. Just let it
Yeah,
flow. It
just let it
comes.
flow. Yep. And stay there for a moment when you're first waking up. Like, just stay there for a moment. Like you said, in that position, stay in that position.
Yes.
And because it might not come to you at first. You might be laying there and you're like, oh, I'm waking up. Well, just allow yourself to relax for a few minutes and you'll be surprised at the images that'll start coming to you. And you'll be,
Right.
oh, yeah,
That's, yes, exactly. The images, the symbols,
they just come right
the
at you.
feeling.
Another thing is, what you wake up to. Years ago, I used to have one of those alarms that was like beep, beep, very loud and very annoying. And that's what I woke up to every day, because I was always afraid I wasn't going to wake up. I was always afraid, I was going to sleep through it. And I was with someone who said, why do you listen to that every day when you get up? That's the first thing you hear. That's horrible. You need to put something calming.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
That's
now
the
my
beginning of
alarm
your
is
day.
very quiet.
You're already with your alarm, you're already like, oh, I need to get up, I need to get da. So you're already in a stress position and your day even didn't start.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that's why I always, when I wake up, I always try to open up my eyes, listen to some nice calming music. And for my alarm, I have nice
Mhm.
calming music. So I'm waking up with nice calming music. So I start my day nice calming. I try to make time for myself in my morning to have my ritual. to do
Mm-hmm.
my bed, to do my my nice oil on my body, things like that. Those are all rituals that are very important in the morning, because that's the day when you start.
It is the day, and it starts off your day correctly. And it's that little foggy moment between sleep and waking up that you remember what it is you're supposed to do.
Exactly,
So
exactly,
yeah, you
exactly.
need to have that. What about dreams that come back to you during the day? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like you wake up and
Yeah,
you're okay, what do you think that is?
it's like your soul is trying to tell you something. So that dream was very important.
Mhm.
So you need to, when you have time, maybe on during the day or somewhere, just 5 minutes, 3 minutes, meditate. What did it want to tell me? What does my body tell me?
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I think you have to when you're first thinking about what it is that you were dreaming, you have to kind of figure out, you don't have to get it exact, but you have to kind of figure out, was this just my way of my body releasing stress? Or was this a
Exactly,
message? And I think you
exactly.
can tell. I think you can use your intuition and tell, oh my God,
Really.
somebody just contacted me, or
Oh
oh,
yes,
you know what I mean?
really.
Like you can tell the
Yes,
difference.
yes,
As
yes.
for travel, completely different, because you actually feel like you have been there. You know, but as far as like the everyday things, I think that you said write things down. That's really important. I know most people don't like to do that, but if you're really wanting to get involved with your dreams in the beginning, at least, you need to write them down because you do forget. You do forget.
Right.
You're in that foggy state, so you're gonna remember it, and then you get up and you might remember part of it, but you're not gonna remember the whole message.
Yes, that's so important. Just write it down. And if it's just some symbols or something, it doesn't matter as long as you write it down. And during the day, things will come together. The puzzle will come together. We are all destined here on earth to do something. So don't think you don't get guidance or something. We all get guidance. It's only the way we listen to it, or do we want to listen to it? Sometimes we don't want to listen.
Sometimes we
Sometimes we
don't want
need to learn our lesson again and
the hard
again
way.
and again.
The hard way. Um, Okay, so let's just cover one more thing real quick. I wanted to cover like the actual dream interpretation, maybe your method of doing it. I know with me, I'll write down obviously what the dream is about. I don't leave out any detail. I write absolutely everything I can remember. And then, of course, I determine, okay, what kind of dream was this? Or what do I think it was? Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not sure if it's a message or a stress relief, but I write down what I think it could be. It could be both. And then I look at the images, and I think what you mentioned, how you feel about these different things is important. What do you do to interpret your dream?
What I do is feeling, just feel. What did it tell me? Did I had a nice feeling about it? Did I had a feeling like, oh, this didn't feel good? Or my intuition is very high, and you know that. My intuition is spot on always.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I can't live without my intuition. I can't live without it. So when my dream is telling me something, a symbol or something, I know what it means. I know.
So the feeling is the most important thing, not necessarily the images.
For me, it's feeling. It's all about feeling. And then comes the images and what, yeah, what does it represent for you?
Mm-hmm. That makes
Because
sense.
the feeling is the first thing. The first thing.
Mhm.
Did it make you happy? Wow. And then you're excited, like oh, what did it tell me? Oh, what happened then and what happened then? But when it was a little dream like, oh, this didn't feel good, then you're like, oh, do I want to listen to it? Okay, I'm ready to listen
I'm ready
listen
to
to it.
listen to it. Then you go
Or
to the
no, I'm
symbols and things.
ready.
Need to listen to it. Yeah, and then you can go to the symbols. Okay, I like that. You listen, yeah, listen to, I have to agree with that. Listen to your feeling first, then you hit the symbols. Um, like I said, I always try to differentiate though what kind of dream it is at the very beginning. Sometimes though you can't tell until you start looking at it, how you feel and things like that. But when it comes to like ancestors or friend, any kind of a spirit or entity contacting me, I know what that is immediately. I know what it is. And if it's astral travel, I know exactly that it's that. It's when it comes to the other that it sort of blends together, for me. But well, I want to thank you for coming back on here. This is the third time you've been on here, and I love having you on here.
Yay! I love
This
being here.
this mini series is right up your alley. It is your forte. So I have so much enjoyed having you on here, and I want to thank you again. And
Thank you so much.
and we'll continue having you on the shows. Blessed be.
Yay! Bless be. Bye bye.
I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of Soul Connection. And a special thanks goes to Andjela for joining us again. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Blessed be.